Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of So What About AI Agents. Today with me, we have Laurent Cohen from Getoblic. And what they're doing is something very interesting, actually. They're deploying 1.6 million voice AI agents. Not one agent, but multiple agents serving over 1.6 million businesses. And the way they've done it is fairly impressive. So they're creating these pages for these individual businesses with their data, and they already have 250,000 of them indexed by Google. And I thought it's fascinating that somebody is applying AI voice at this scale. So, Laurent, I'd love to hear your introduction and what you're building.
Yeah, thank you, Philippe, for having me. It's a pleasure being on your podcast. First, let me put in perspective how we came with this awkward and pretty intense idea of developing at scale products like voice AI. It came from a very, very simple problem. Everybody and their mother are building voice AI today. They are all over the internet, all over social media, and their only work basically is to convince any business to spend as much money as they can on a tool that is, let's put it this way, pretty much handled by anyone that want to spend a few hours online. So we very rapidly understood that if we want to be successful in that market, we have to put in perspective and put in forefront of our business two things. The first one is the scalability. The second one is putting front and center the business and their user. Because at the end of the day, we are a B2B2C company. No, you cannot just focus on making sure the business owner is happy with the voice he will never listen to. And you cannot also only listen to the customer that will have an impact on not only a business, but multiple business. Knowing that, we've thought about very deeply how we could move from a SaaS business to an infrastructure layer business. Because once we passed the decision of being a SaaS company, we said, okay, we need to scale data. We need to deploy voice AI in the millions. What do we need to do that? And where are we going to struggle? And where are we going to put our focus? Our focus first was on gathering the data because we need to feed the voice with as much information as we can. And believe it or not, Philippe, after a month of working, our main focus today is not how many customers are going to subscribe to our product. It's how many minutes per day are going to users spend on our voice. The reason is pretty simple. If you want to achieve that kind of scale on voice AI, you need to be able to be clever. It's not about how much money you're going to spend. It's not about the biggest server you're going to have. It's about how much information and data you're going to gather on how user and business react with voice AI, accumulate the data, analyze it, and then spread it among all those voice AI we deploy. And this is pretty fascinating because every single morning when we wake up and we analyze the prior day data, we have to put it with our LLMs, analyze it, put it out, and re-inject it into the million of voice AI we've deployed. So I'm pretty sure you have a lot of questions, and I'm really willing and able to answer that. But that was the kind of introduction about what we were facing today.
Well, my main question is unit economics. How much does this cost? This sounds very expensive.
Fairly nothing. Believe it or not, fairly nothing. We are in a world where I believe I've always bootstrapped company. I've been over 30 years an entrepreneur in many different, mostly web ventures. And I've always loved the bootstraps, not only because I love the learning curve. I like to be hands-on everything I do, but also because today I think, again, money is the enemy. If someone came to my door and say, I give you $5 million to scale, I will refuse that money. Simply because you will start a process where you will go into obviously hiring more person, which is a good thing, but also thinking that the quality and the density of the infrastructure is what you have to put your energy on. But that's not what I think. I think what you put your energy on is to have the leanest company, the leanest piece of code, and the most learning curve you can have. So to be honest, it consumes a lot of time. It doesn't cost much money because what we do is trying not to make our codes and my prompting bigger. It's actually to make it leaner by the day. Believe it or not, our LLMs were much more dense 2 months ago than they are today. As far as deploying and engaging with the users per minute, what we do when we're trying to achieve is reaching the highest level of quality, but reducing the amount of time people are spending on and you can only achieve that if you gather enough data from enough businesses so you know beforehand what they're going to ask. So a call that would have lasted 3 minutes 2 months ago is going to probably last around 100 seconds today. And
Mm,
this is where we really achieve something that is very, very interesting. When you have 1.6 million businesses, when you have, as now, hundreds of minutes of call per day, the amount of information we're getting is tremendous. And this is why, Philippe, we like to talk about what we're doing as an infrastructure layer. The thing is, when you have companies such as Google and Facebook, from the moment you open your computer, you sign up to your email, you go online, you browse, you buy, they know every single thing about you. But the moment they handle the phone number of a local business, they lose trace. They lose information. They don't have access to those data. And this is why we envision together. And once we have that data, we value our company not only from the perspective of how many companies are signing up, but also the amount of data we have that are not available to the big seven today.
right. And how are you ranking these, hundreds of thousands of pages? How do you just basically have an agent that runs 24/7, like scraping and then putting it into your LLM?
There are two things. The first thing is gathering the data.
Mm,
Gathering the data are solely public informations. Those public informations at hand. You can find it anywhere if you put the energy to do it. Then you have to deploy this amount of pages.
mm,
It requires very strong structure in terms of server, very optimized data sets. But then, and that's when it becomes interesting, is SEO, because SEO, believe it or not, I've been doing SEO since 2002. And I'm very humble with SEO. When I start a
mm.
project, I will always tell you, let's have a plan B and a plan C because you never know if SEO is going to work. But I'm amazed that in 2026, SEO is still as strong as it has ever been. And the reason is that, and if I have a number one advice from my career that I can give to your audience is, do not work with SEO agencies. This
Mm.
is literally the thing you need to do in-house because this is really the DNA of a company. When you start working on SEO, I'd say 10 to 15% is technical because you know what to do with title, descriptions, content, links. Those are known by anyone. But 85% is understanding what Google expects from you. Google expects only one thing. Is your page going to have enough retention time from users so that it's relevant? And in order to do that, you have not only to make good content, but you have to address the keywords that make sense with the product you're selling. I'm going to give you a very good example. When you are, like we are doing, working on voice and AI, literally the keywords you need to work on are keywords that are linked to voice and AI. Let me put it this way. You have a salon, you have a pet grooming that's called Philippe Pet Grooming or Philippe Salon. If you start working on the SEO and say, call Philippe, find Philippe phone number, and then you have people, and then Google starts to serve those pages, and
Mm.
people comes and they literally call you because they're using the voice AI. And remember what I said before, calling our voice AI will last between 100 seconds to 3 minutes. Those are calculated by Google as much retention on the page. So basically Google at a certain point serve the page to users. Users get in. They spend between 2 to 4 minutes on the page, probably browse again the website, and Google start analyzing those metrics. And those metrics send a very, very positive message to Google. They say, okay, something is happening on that directory. People are spending time there. We're going to give it even more visibility. And then you increase that, you leverage on that, and you start reaching pretty interesting results. So yes, SEO is living and everybody should focus on that.
And essentially, you have these people, they come on the page, they call these voice agents that tell them about the business. So how do you make money? Does you then call the business and say, hey, I have this leads for you, or our director is bringing you leads, like, can you update your information and maybe pay us? Or like, how do you envision this will make money? Are you going to run ads on those people, or are you going to recommend competitors? Like, what is going to happen for you to actually monetize this?
As now, the thing we're doing is exactly as you described. We have people engaging with companies and companies that are not even aware we're existing at this point. What we're doing is that we make sure that the voice AI is trained on the public information that we have. So let's say someone is calling a massage therapist and is saying, are you open tomorrow? Can I come at 3? What we're doing is gathering all those information. And we say, we're going to contact the business and we're going to come back very soon to confirm either your appointment, either your question, which is, which service do you have? Do you do balayage? You name it. We send a message which comes either by email, WhatsApp, or SMS to the business. And the business starts receiving what are at this point only leads and becomes aware that there's a directory somewhere that is reaching to customers that are not directly going to him. So he can come to our website and he can claim for free the page. Once he claims it, he can edit it, and the editing of the page will in turn train even more the AI assistant on its page. At that point, he'll be able to subscribe to our service, which in turn will transform the AI assistant on the page into a full AI receptionist. And he will have a virtual line and you will have a piece of code which will allow him to use the AI receptionist outside of Getoblic.com for $59 per month with unlimited minutes. So this is the first layer for us, delivering a product even before the business knows about our existence, and delivering quality and service before it knows we exist. And then the second layer that I mentioned earlier is we're gathering a lot of data on the infrastructure layer. And we think as a business that is something highly valuable if you want to really become what we want.
Now, this makes a lot of sense. And there is a lot of small businesses who don't have like good receptionists and they don't qualify leads very well. So having a system that takes care of it for them and identifies these customers and handles this whole pipeline for them with voice. But I have a question regarding the is it all automated? Does that mean that essentially you have that this voice agent basically gets this lead and this voice agent calls them? So is the entire loop automated? Because you mentioned before that you have multiple agents doing the work. So can you just kind of walk us through the architecture? Which agent? So okay, so it got this it got the lead submission. So do you have an agent that then contacts those people, follow ups with those people? How does it work?
Okay. We have a workflow of agents, basically. Because again, like I mentioned, Philippe, and I say that to anyone that's going into AI and especially voice AI, you have to trust the LLMs. So you have to have the leanest code possible. You don't want to have one single agent that treats all the information. You have to have different agents that are working together on a workflow. So basically we have our first agent, which is our concierge. Our concierge is one at the gate. So he says, okay, what do you need today? Do you need to talk to a business? Are you looking for a business? Or do you need more information on how to claim your page? Do you need for him any information on the receptionist? Or what is your question? Then we guide it to the next layer, which are the ponds. So they're the first line. And whenever it's a subject, those have a specific task that is required. And once they go through that task, then they go to the next layer. The next layer of agents are the ones that are working on providing the service or doing what we call the fallback, which is sending the user to the business. At the end, the last line are the ones that are fed with the data. And the data are the ones that are on the page that you see on the page, but that are basically a data set that we have on our server, and all those multiple layers of data that are crossed together. Because let me give you an example. We have maybe 25,000 hair salons that are specific to a brand called Kerastase that sell that kind of products. We have also a certain number of salons in Dallas. Not all of them sell those products. What if we could cross the data? And when someone calls a salon and is looking for a specific kind of treatment for hair, can we provide an upsell with the Kerastase product, provide service to the business? And once you have those two things, you send the information to the business and you can create partnership with the brand. You see, those are the last line of the different agents we have. One agent is for upsell. One agent is for treating the users. One agent is for treating the concierge. The most strategic one is the one that we call the near me agent, because once you get on a certain level of indexation at Google, you're not long tail anymore. Today,
Mm,
we have people coming from the keywords chiropractor near me, massages near me, and those are very broad keywords. So
mm,
someone is just clicking on our page and said, I'd like to get a massage today. How do you do that? How do you find the closest
mhm.
listing? How do you decide that is the good listing? And then how do you forward on the funnel from the near me agent to the best listing? Oh, so this is a really, I would not call it complicated infrastructure. I would love to call it a clever infrastructure.
No, it makes sense, especially nowadays. So, how big is your team?
Oh, it's very, I would love to lie to you, but we're only three. Well, the question I would love to enter though is how many hours are we spending on the project? Because at the end of the day, that's what changes everything. And the second question I could answer you is also how many agents are working for us?
Right.
Because we reach a threshold with the AI agents that are helping us where they're not machine anymore. We treat them as human resources, HR. You literally have to treat the agent that are working for you as HR. You have to tell them when it's wrong. You have to tell them when they're doing a good work. You have, when you work with them, to make sure they put in the stone every important thing you're working on in their knowledge base. Because, okay, let's imagine that a year from now, someone comes and decides that he might want to make an offer for our company. I'm convinced that part of the asset of the company are going to be the agents that have been helping us building everything we're building right now. So as far as real human, we are three. As far as horsepower, let me put it this way, I'd say we have closer to 30, 35.
Yeah, and it makes sense because nowadays we're talking about, one person billion-dollar companies, right? Because of agents and because of automations and being able to automate each step and set up pipelines and agents and they communicate. You don't need people. Like, for example, we used to need manual salespeople like SDRs to reach out. Nowadays, agents can do the reach out. So you don't need an SDR team. So maybe you need an account executive, but you can probably be an account executive at early stages. But let's talk about conversion metrics, actually. So how many businesses are so far on board with this? Because I know you just launched and you're already getting a bunch of pages indexed. People are coming in. Obviously, right now, people are trying out and it takes time to nurture them and get like a lot of them to convert. But what are some of the earlier successes that you've seen commercially? Like, and what are some of the things that people are saying?
So the number one success we had, of course, aside of the first person clicking on our page after 2 weeks, I'd say is the number of claim pages.
Mm,
As today, we have 65,000 claim pages. So basically, there are businesses that have claimed their page for free. That's a very strong victory for us. As far as receptionists, people that have been paying for our subscription, we have slightly over 6,000 businesses, which is huge for us, huge and very strong success. And now the next metric is the number of minutes per day. And today we are close to 300 minutes spent with voice agents per day. And I'm saying we went online on September 18th
mm.
with 0 page rank, obviously, just, open the door and come in. And we are very, very excited. Those are very successful metrics for us.
Those are good metrics. And how are you building moats? So, what are your moats? So, what is preventing a competitor from launching something similar? Because I understand right now you're automating and you're capturing segments of this market. This is a market, it's directories, it's a big market. And the faster you capture it, obviously, the more foothold you'll have. But some people will try to launch competitors. What are some of the things and moats that you're currently building to protect your company?
First thing, and that's a great question, Philippe. First thing is, are we scared of already big companies such as Yelp? Certainly not. A website and a directory at the end of the day is real estate. You have certain amount of pixel that you can devote to certain products. A company like Yelp that has been existing for 25 years maybe, will not ever be able to provide the square footage on its page dedicated to voice AI that we provide, because
Mm,
there's so much intrication between what they're offering already, their reviews, everything that they built. This is what a lead company can do. This is what a startup company. You can take
mm,
risks, break the mold, and decide we are a voice company. We called ourselves a voice first company, but at the end of the day, I think we will become a voice only company. I believe that the digital web layer will slowly but surely disappear and voice will take over. For instance, we already foreseeing our future as an app, and we imagine our app as a single voice Because again, you know, as I do, that voice AI on ChatGPT or Gemini are working perfectly. Of course, we're not competing with them. But as far as local businesses, as far as the information it requires, which needs to be fresh, they don't do a good job. So big directory, they're not our competitors. ChatGPT, LLMs, they're not our competitors here. So what's left? Someone new that want to copy us? If you're willing to put the amount of work and if you're willing to wake up every morning and solve maybe 5 problems to go to sleep with 25 more, be my guest. I just only want to encourage that. And to be honest, also, Philippe, as a business owner, being the first doing something is the hardest thing. I'd rather be second. I'd rather be the second one. But at this point, I'm not. But I'd rather be the second one because I could at least watch the mistakes that I've done and, you know, and try to find my way through that. But, you know, you also get the excitement of creating something that's very innovative, and that's why making us wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I have the same opinion as you because in the end of the day, people say, "Oh, somebody can go wake up and vibe code your product," and I know that I wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning and I go to sleep maybe at midnight every day, 6 days a week. With a little bit of work on in the evening on Saturday. And I feel like it's just an enormous amount of work that I have to put in. I have a team too, they work, they put in their time. But I now these days I am like you have to be in that mode. And as a business owner, if you're willing to put in the work, you'll get a share of a market, right? And being first, yeah, it's hard,
Yeah,
especially
and
when you're.
also what I would add, Philippe, is I mean, I'm 54. I've worked all my life. I think I'm skillful on some skill sets, but there's a lot of things that I don't know at all. Nevertheless, AI allows you to wake up in the morning without not knowing anything about how a server works and going to bed at night pretty good at it. And after a week, you're probably an expert if you put enough time on it. Now, what I'm going to say also is that if you're experienced enough to have handled multiple aspects of a company and you have AI, you're going to be the winner today. I'd say 3, 4 years ago, it was the era of the 20-year-old coder. You go to a venture capitalist, you say, I'm 20-year-old, I'm the greatest coder, give me $10 million. Now, me, the elder one, I'm back. Because if you're 20 and you come with a great skill, one skill, you're going to focus on that skill. But are you going to be taking care of all the 20 other things you need to take care of? We have to take care of huge amount of data. We have to take care of servers. We have to take care of LLM. We have to take care of SEO. We have to take care of marketing. And those are the top 5, but I could tell you 20 more. And this is only something that experienced people can do. So this is our time again.
You mentioned marketing. Are you running any paid ads?
No, 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 no.
Not yet.
As far as money goes, we make a point of spending as less money as we can. Obviously, today, although I've been quite experienced too on social media advertising in the 20s, and today we don't have traction there. But it's also a good thing. You know why? Because as more traffic we're going to get, then we're going to have traction on social media. And I'm going to be ready then, because right now, the message I'm going to convey is fine tuned. 2 months ago, it was not. So we're starting to understand who we are, what we want to say. So again, when the door is going to open on social media for us, people will listen to the right message. So going too fast in that aspect is not necessarily the best thing.
Well, yeah, I can think like of this going viral on TikTok because it's a lot of hair salons and other people. They all have TikTok accounts, and those things go viral, and then you get a lot of other small businesses come in. Like if you have like some incentive for those people to go on TikTok and mention your company and how they're doing great with it, especially those people who pay you, this could go viral and like 10x you, and without paying a dime, right? It's just word of mouth and people making TikToks about how this is saving them time or whatever.
I think this is exactly the way it should be, Philippe. I think are we already working together? Or, I don't know. You seem to be very knowledgeable of where we'd like to go. No, seriously, you're 100% right. And again, I would not spend a dime on social media or marketing, building what we're building. If I had to spend money today, I would say it's for the data infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because there's not a week that goes by that we don't end it saying, wow, look at our performance on the server. This is beautiful. Our CPU is 8%, or disk root is 20%. And then you come up on Monday morning and everything goes burning up, because you've uploaded another 100,000 listings. And the difference between 1.6, 1 million point 6 and 1 million point 8 might seem not important, but it's huge. It's huge. It changes everything. And you don't know that when, like me, you've only worked for years with websites that had only 1,000 pages. Now you had the voice layer on top of that needs to be working fast, accessible, and deliver. This
Mm.
is so, yeah, if I had to spend money, that would be that, but I'm not. I want to be hands on. I want to learn. I want to understand exactly where we're going at, so that when the day comes, I will be able to have a team and I will be able to talk to them and know what I'm talking about.
Excellent. So, Laurent, is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think we covered a lot of things here, but I really like to tell them the three things. First, SEO. Do not discard SEO. Do it in-house. This is the DNA of a company. Only you know what your company has to say and what Google want to hear. Second, I would say money is your enemy. Work, work, work. Put the hour. Three, LLMs are HR related. Treat them as your team. Engage with them as humans, and trust the process. We're living a fabulous time. Fabulous time. If you would have told me what I'm doing right now 2 years ago, I would laugh. I've laughed at you. So, I don't have the skills. Will I have the energy? No, but here it is. Here it is. You have LLMs working with you that are patient, that are never tired. As a human being, you feel, why not? Why not? Let's put on the hour. Let's build something beautiful. So, and again, most of my career, I've helped people because that's something that I like to do. And I would like to tell your audience that they can send me a message on social media and get to me, and I will be more than happy to share my little knowledge. And we live in a world where money is everywhere. So let's help each other. And that's what I want to say.
Well, thank you, Laurent. So, this is Laurent Cohen from Getoblic, and reach out to him if you have any questions. And thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you, Philippe.